Qala hadha firaku baini wa bainika sa'unabbi'uka bi ta'wili ma lam tastati alayhi sabran. Suratul-Kahfi, Surah 8, ayat number 78. Before we proceed with this verse, something which I missed in connection to last verse was aqama, to stand, to make something stand. I think I just missed to mention the word stand. Otherwise, everything else was correct. And even without the word stand, it makes perfect sense. So to set it straight, to make something stand straight, so that word adds to the meaning. Otherwise, whatever I explained still holds good without any loss of meaning. So I thought it would be better if I just remind you about what I missed. And then there's obviously to erect, to repair, all of those meanings still hold valid. We continue with this verse. Qala, he said, Khizr-al-Islam said, because you remember the word in talaka appeared for the third time. And I said in the next verse, something will become clear. So this is that thing. So after the third pronouncement, so to say, I mean, it's not a direct pronouncement, they cannot stay together. And this is what he will inform now. Qala, he said, Khizr-al-Islam said, Haza, this, firaku, parting, this is the parting of ways, baini wa bainika, between me and you. Sa unabbi'uka, now I will inform you, bi ta'wili, about the interpretation, ma, of all that which, of what, or of all that which, lam is no, tastati, to be able, so of all that which you were not able to even. There is a reason why I added the word even over here. Alayhi sabran, have patience over. Sabran is patience, to have patience, and alayhi, over it. So the it is not required in the English language. To have patience over it. The it is not required. It's understood. I mean, in English, we don't speak like that. But in Arabic, the alayhi is required. The attached pronoun is required. Anyway, so if you read the running translation in the English language, he said, this is the parting of ways between me and you. Now I will inform you about the interpretation of all that which you are not able to even have patience over, not able to even have patience over. This seems natural, and you probably don't miss anything except for one fact. And when you read the translations, the way the scholars or the translators have translated it as, it seems okay, this is fine, except for one point which you would otherwise miss. So I need to highlight that. And probably the translators or scholars have also missed. When they were copy pasting, they have not differentiated between the occurrence of this word in the previous instances vis-a-vis this one. And there is a difference. This word appeared in verse number 67, 72, and 75, 3 times in the story. In the story of Musa alayhi salam, I mean, in the story of Khizr alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, and Joshua alayhi salam. In the story itself, it has appeared 3 times. It has also appeared in verse number 41, which was in connection with the story of the 2 men, the rich man and the poor man. Anyway, leave that aside. In all those previous 3 or 4 occurrences, in all of those occurrences, the spelling used is not this variant. The standard spelling was used. It was tastatir. So ta, ya, and ain, the last 3 letters. Here the ya is missing. The ya is missing. So is it a spelling mistake? No, it's not a spelling mistake. It's not a grammatical rule at play over here. It's a balaga. It's a rhetorical connotation rule that is at play over here. And rhetorics is not a defined. You need to think through what's happening. So, okay, I mean, the root word is ta, waw, ain, and the root word, if it is a weak letter, sort of letters which are, I mean, alif, waw, and ya, those letters, then they can change in the spelling. The weak letters support each other depending on the spelling. So leaving that aside, the ya is missing. You could not drop a root letter from a spelling. You could not do that possibly unless it's a weak letter, which is over here. But you don't do that for anything, for mere play. You don't do that. There must be some reason, compelling reason enough for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do so. So the reason is the previous occurrences. So if you were to make a pronunciation difference, it would be tastati and tastate. So you understand the elongation went missing in this occurrence, verse number 78, in this one. The reason being that the three or four occurrences that appeared before, and I'm talking about Surah Kahf itself, not the other chapters. That word has appeared in other surahs as well, in other surah as well. Surah is, by the way, the plural of surah. It's not surah and surahs, it's surah. I mean, if Urdu has assumed that word and given a different meaning, we don't care much about that. Anyway, so that was the standard spelling to be able to. And then whatever followed, we fix that. And since lum is there or lun is there, whatever is there, not to be able to, something like that. But in this occurrence, why is the ya not there? Why is the spelling different from the standard spelling? This begs a question, isn't it? This begs a deep dive. What could be the possible reason? Nothing happens by chance or by accident or just like that. There must be reason. And boy, this verse is this profound. This is so profound. And probably you would lay an allegation on me that you're a liar, because every verse you say it's a profound verse. And how can I not say every verse is a profound verse when in fact all of the verses are so very profound? There's no option for me when I look at the Arabic just to appreciate and be in awe of the verses in the way in which the construct, the language comes together to create the miracle that it is able to create beyond the capability of any human handiwork. Anyway, so here, what is happening? They will not continue their journey. So Khizr al-Islam is now as if in a hurry to cut short that conversation and part ways. That is one point. Balagha point, rhetorics, from the rhetorics point of view, rhetorical point of view. So rhetorics is at play. It's a rhetorical device. It's not a grammar device. And also, it's talking about Musa al-Islam in the negative light. So Khizr al-Islam reminds him, over this, you were not even able to have patience. You were not even able to do that in spite of me reminding you. Before our journey began and intermediary, I sort of reminded you two more times. Still, you were not able to do that. So the intent is to cut short the conversation, and that is beautifully captured through this variant spelling. And as I said, the ya could not have been dropped unless it was a weak letter. The option is there and has been done, and beautifully so. This is a short verse. I mean, interesting. And as I said, I think in connection to the last verse also, some things will come up that will highlight. Probably I'm not able to recollect the full thing. So basically, one of the points was, so after the three pronouncements, not really pronouncements, the intalaka word appeared 3 times. The dual form appeared, not intalaka, but intalaka. Anyway, I'm trying to give the grammatical point of view now. So there is a separation of ways. There's no more staying together. So as I said, this is the embedded thematic thing, which the way it has been presented and subtly hinted at, beautiful way it has been represented. That's it. Then this verse was, from appreciation point of view, immense. You need to spend time on this verse to be able to fully appreciate what's happening and to be in awe of this. But the explanation is whatever I have said, and that's it for this verse. Then we'll just read it one more time. قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا. He said, this is the parting of ways between me and you. Now I'll inform you about the interpretation of all that you were not able to even have patience over. One more thing though, that I was wondering, where should I place the word even? And I realized that there could be 3 places where I could add the word even. So interesting, again, the word is reduced, tasati, the spelling variant drops a letter, but an emphasis is added, rhetorical device. And to add the emphasis, we are having to add a word in the English language. In Arabic, we are dropping a letter. In English, interestingly, we are having to add a word to capture that connotation. Interesting observation though. So as I said, so I was thinking of 3 different ways in which to add the word, add the emphasis by adding the word even. That we need to add the word even was clear to me, but where I was thinking over. So one of the ways was, now I'll inform you about the interpretation of all that which you are not able to have patience over even. So that way, but that is not very natural. And the other way I thought was, now I will inform you about the interpretation of all that which you were not even able to have patience over. That was one way. But I thought it's best to keep it like this. Now I'll inform you about the interpretation of all that which you were not able to have, not able to even have patience over. This is what I thought best, but I give you the other two because emphasis is, especially in the English language, when you're translating, you have some flexibility over there, and you're never sure which is the best way to capture that connotation. But I thought this is the best way. The other two options are also sort of valid options. I mean, one thing which I don't like to repeat again and again, but which I'm sort of forced to, is this emphasis is brought about. This observation is probably gone missing in the translations that exist, which is an unfortunate and sad reality that we have to live by. Another thing is that the interpretation. So in Akhirul Zaman, the surah is for Akhirul Zaman, right? In Akhirul Zaman, the interpretation, ta'wil is important. And so it is important that we are blessed with the ability to interpret. And unless we are blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His nur, we will not be able to interpret the Quran, the Quran in general, but Surah Kahf in specific, because this is the key to understanding, decoding Akhirul Zaman. And only we decode, we'll be able to protect ourselves from the fitna of the jal. So all of those things are also there. I think in connection to last verse, yes, the talaq part and the interpretation is important. So to do to separate, to be able to differentiate between truth and falsehood, to differentiate between appearance and reality, all of these things require us to interpret. Ta'wil is so important. So as we say, not just the text is obviously there, the translation does not suffice. The tafsir is okay, it is an attempt to explain that, but ta'wil is required, and anyone cannot do ta'wil. You have to be blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His nur, and you have to put in your effort and time, and then if Allah blesses you, you're able to interpret things which others are not able to. This then is a sort of in brief but comprehensive discussion about this verse. I hope you keep this tastati, the shortened version, in mind when you contemplate on this verse further. I think we've already read it 2-3 times. Okay, let's read it one more time before we bring the session to a close. قَالَ هَذَا فِرَاقُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنِكَ سَأُنَبِّئُكَ بِتَأْوِيلِ مَا لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. He said, this is the parting of ways between me and you. Now I will inform you about the interpretation of all that which you are not able to even have patience over. That's it then. We'll continue with the next verses in the subsequent sessions, inshallah.